Hey y'all, welcome to day 84. That means we only have 6 more days left. I'm excited to get into this psalm from David today, but first, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel. Go ahead and like and share this video and also comment. I want to hear your thoughts on what we are reading today. All right, let's get into this psalm. Today we're reading Psalm 142, and I'm going to read out of the Amplified Version. I cry aloud with my voice to the Lord. I make supplication with my voice to the Lord. I pour out my complaint before him. I declare my trouble before him. When my spirit was overwhelmed and weak within me, wrapped in darkness, you knew my path. In the way where I walk, they have hidden a trap for me. Look to the right, the point of attack, and see, for there is no one who has regard for me to act in my favor. Escape has failed me, and I have nowhere to run. No one cares about my life. I cried out to you, O Lord. I said, you are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. Give attention to my cry, for I am brought very low. Rescue me from my persecutors, for they are stronger than I. Bring my soul out of prison, adversity, so that I may give thanks and praise your name. The righteous will surround me in triumph, for you will look after me. So like I said, this is another psalm from David, and once again we have a psalm of lament. So the title tells us that this psalm was written in a cave. So whether or not this was when David was in the cave of Adullam, or when he was in the cave in which he cut off the piece of Saul's robe, we don't know. It could even be from a cave that wasn't written about in the Bible. However, if this was written in the cave of Adullam, we do know that David's prayers in here were answered, that people who loved him did come to him and fight by his side. What we do know from this psalm is that his physical location was the place from which he spoke in this psalm, that all of these points about safety and refuge were about God, but they were also about this place, this physical place of safety in the cave. So I want to go into this psalm today and talk about the human or the realistic perspective of this psalm. So I'm going to break it down here, and this is going to be my revelation for today. There's a focal point, in this psalm, and it comes right in the middle, verse 4. It says, look to the right, the point of attack, and see, for there is no one who has regard for me to act in my favor. Escape has failed me, and I have nowhere to run. No one cares about my life. So we get certain feelings out of this one verse. We have the feeling of isolation, of being entrapped, a feeling of imprisonment, and of loneliness, of helplessness, and hopelessness. So this is the state of mind from which everything else in the psalm comes from. So from this, the first thing David does in this psalm is cry out to the Lord. He says he's making supplication, and in the Hebrew here, supplication is actually a cry that appeals to kindness. So what David is doing here is crying out because he understands God's love, and he understands that God's grace will cause him to hear him and to answer his prayers. The pouring out here means a release. This is an example of what and how we are to talk to God. We pour it out to him. We release it to him. We let it all fall out, withholding nothing. If we move then to verse 3a, it is the point in which someone would have no understanding of how they are functioning. It would be if you continue to keep going and you kind of are navigating without even thinking of it. You understand that it's only by God's grace, it's only through God's strength that you made it through the situation. Okay, then in verse 5, after the full release of verse 4, comes the statement of faith. It says, "You are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living." This is the "I trust you." This is the "I understand how your grace works," right? Then if we move into verse 6, we have this admission of vulnerability. It's saying, I can't do this on my own. I'm not strong enough. And I think this is also the point at which Paul was at. Then he is able to come to the realization that when I am weak, then I am strong through the grace of God, as we see in 2 Corinthians 12. Verse 7 then is a prayer for deliverance. Bring my soul out of prison or adversity. And to me, this just speaks freedom, right? Bringing my soul out of prison is freedom from isolation, freedom from loneliness, freedom from hopelessness, freedom from helplessness. And what I see here is that the freedom means wholeness. So we've heard the phrase, "you attract what you are." And that is kind of how this psalm ends, that with this freedom, when God releases your soul from all of these things that have been tying you down, when you feel like you are in an inescapable position, the freedom that God gives is a freedom that will make you whole. And from that wholeness, we will start to be a magnet for righteousness. And that's how this psalm ends, that once you go along the journey, once you realize God's grace, once you understand how to cry out to Him, how to pour it all out, how to release the situation to Him, then not only do you walk in freedom, but you walk in wholeness. And with that wholeness comes people who are whole. You attract what you are. So you will start to attract people who are free, people who are whole, people who understand God's grace, people who understand God's love, people who endure, but they do it from a place of wholeness. And so that should be our goal, right? This whole psalm really could be a lifespan, that you're in this place of imprisonment, that you are bound by your limited human capacities, that it feels like someone is always after you, and we know that Satan is always after us, right? But we come to this place where we say, God, I trust you. God, I understand that your grace covers me. And then that is the point in which the focus turns, and you start to see that God has His hand on your life, and that you don't have to walk in this hopelessness, that you don't have to do everything on your own, that God is there, that He will give you the strength, that He is your portion, that He will be your deliverer. And then you will start to see your life grow. You will start to see your friendships and relationships get better, because you walking in your wholeness inspires others to walk in their wholeness. And all of a sudden you have a life that is not devoid of issues, but a life that is of peace and joy even through the issues. All right? Hey, y'all, go back through this psalm. I want you to pull out some more stuff from this. It's short, but it has a lot of meat in it to chew on. So let me know what you thought about it. I'll be right back here on tomorrow. Look, we only have a little bit of time, so let's finish this out strong. I'll see you then. Bye.